Hello and welcome to COVID Conversations here on WNCU 90.7 FM, streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, and Instagram. I'm your host, Kimberley Pierce Cartwright, and I'm the News and Public Affairs Director here at WNCU. And we're using the Zoom platform to talk about how COVID-19 is affecting our world. Benita Perkins is my guest today. She calls herself a self-made diva, and she's using what she calls her superpower to transform lives. She's the president and CEO of Benniegirl Healthy Lifestyle Branding and Communications. Hello, Benita, and welcome.
Hello, Kimberly. How are you today?
I'm doing so well. First of all, talk to me about how you started your wellness business. The first time I met you, you looked so healthy and beautiful and strong. So how did you come about this line of work?
Well, I used to work on Wall Street, and let me preface this. I used to dance, so I do have a viewpoint for, taking care of yourself to a certain extent. Well, I shouldn't say that. Dancers can be quite abusive to themselves. But anyway, I was working on Wall Street and had just had my third kid and really didn't like what I was doing. And so after this third kid, I was trying to figure out how to get myself back, get my body back, started taking step classes and just fell in love with the whole concept of the rhythm and the movement and the creativity of it. And I just thought, everyone should be doing this, and noticed that there weren't a lot of Black or women of color fitness offerings on the shelves in some of the stores, and thought, hey, I'm going to do an exercise video to step. It was a step and upper body video to upbeat gospel music, because at that time the genre was just starting to pick up, and there was great, upbeat gospel music that you could move to. So I put it together, did the video. It was sold nationally. It had in Walmart and other stores, and actually you could still get it online. And it kind of was my entree into this whole area of health and wellness and women of color. And yeah, and the brand, and I should say the brand and communication piece. I mean, we work with community organizations, we do employee wellness programming, just everything in the realm of wellness, with a particular focus to women of color.
So you help African American women to work on their mind, body, and soul. So how have you had to tailor your business to meet the needs of women through COVID-19?
I think, we've all dealt with some of the issues of not being able to get out, not being able to move during that 2-year period. Some of us are still nervous about going back to the gym because of, the COVID issues. And so it's been, I think, COVID's been a time of revelation for a lot of us as to how we should be taking care of ourselves, what we weren't doing. It's really highlighted, that we have to move, that we have to do certain things. So even though we've been impacted by it negatively physically, I think mentally it's made us more aware, and I'm hoping that awareness is going to trigger into an action. The other thing is the immunity piece of the pandemic lesson. One of the things I was not as aware of as a health and wellness expert, and in all the things I've done with wellness, was the immunity benefit. And so that became really interesting to me, that this was one of the ways, not only that you get a 6-pack or you get guns, but that you really save yourself from the worst parts of COVID. Though if you do get COVID, you get it, you have it's not as severe if you've been working out and doing things. So yeah.
So I want to ask you now about your interactions with African American women. Do women come to you for counsel, for nutrition, or do they come to you for the movement aspect?
Women come to me in frustration. Usually we're talking about 40s, 50s, 30s, you're kind of still good. Your body's still working pretty good. But 40s and 50s, we start to lose our metabolism, because as we get older, we start to lose muscle mass, which makes our metabolism work slower. And so we're frustrated because, we're not really eating more than we did before. We're not really exercising or doing any less. Maybe we weren't exercising, but either way, we weren't doing much different, living much differently than we are now. And yet we've put on 10 pounds. And we're like, why? And I think the pandemic was exacerbated that by even if you were walking from the parking lot to your, to your office, you were doing something. And so, with that, it became a much harder task to offset what aging is doing to us. So that is usually the biggest question, the biggest frustration. And there's always ways to, you gotta change your strategy and make it work.
So while I'm talking to you right now, I'm thinking about a big scoop of ice cream that I want to go and eat. Do you tell people like not to have
So
treats?
the key is not to deny yourself. The key is to discipline yourself, right? You cannot deny who you are. You cannot deny what you like to eat. What you do is you have to be, especially as we get older, we just have to be more strategic about how we do those things, how our portions look. People ask me all the time, how do you keep the weight off? Oh my God, I keep, do you only eat carrots and celery, whatever? And my thing is portions. It is the end all be all to how I am able to sustain my, how I go through life. And I think we really have to be, realistic about that. That hamburger, I don't care how, you only need to have half, and then you can have the half later. Everything becomes a mindset of how am I going to strategically have what I want, and yet make it so that it's not, the portions are better.
Yeah. Talk to me about the 3 tenets of wellness as you see them.
The 3 tenets of wellness. The first, there's 3. The mindfulness or mental is one tenet, and that's about our mental and emotional health. There's the movement tenet, which is about activity and how we get it in and how we make it work for us. And then there's the nutrition or eating portion, which is how are we, sustaining ourselves in a way that is sustaining us and healthy, and is going to allow us to live our lives the way we want to live them. And you can't, each one is important. And you got to be aware, like for me, mindfulness, I have to work harder at that. That doesn't come as naturally to me, to be mindful of what I'm doing. For other people, I have friends who hate exercising. They hate going to the gym. I mean, if I said, short of Maxwell being at a concert and they could, being at the gym and they could dance, I mean, maybe they would come. Okay. But it is, and other people are really good about eating. They're really good about, making sure that they're eating healthy and da. So all of us have our kind of go-tos that we're good at, and the other pieces we have to work at, but understand that each piece is important in terms of our quality of life.
So right now, cold and flu season is right around the corner as cooler weather sets in. And then, not only is there cold and flu, but there's COVID. What are some of the recommendations to help women stay well during this time of the year?
And I'm trying to pull, there we go. So, we've been through the masking and the distance, and I think that's all been helpful. And vaccines, of course, are probably one of the easiest, most accessible things to do to keep ourselves healthy. But it's all about, are we living our lives correctly? Are we exercising? That is my forte. And one of the things I found out in terms of exercise and how it helps us is that exercise is like an adjuvant. It improves whatever vaccine we get. Adjuvants are agents that improve the immune response of a vaccine. And they're usually added to a vaccine to boost the immune response. So when we look at it that way, oh shoot, that's not a slide machine, hold on. Let me take it down a little bit. When we look at it that way, moderate to vigorous exercise is an adjuvant. It's considered a boost to the vaccine. And it helps us defend against, all kinds of stuff, bacteria, viruses. So we really have to be very clear about that being a tool for keeping us healthy. And one of the things, we're talking about, I think it's called acute exercise, which is a bad term. Exercise that takes you to 60 to 90% of your max heart rate for maybe 30 minutes a day is all you need. And let me tell you what that is. If my max heart rate is, say, I don't know, 180 or 190, or say 160. If I do 60%, I'm at 109 beats per minute. That's a brisk walk. That's all that is. And that heart rate, that space is going to be one of the best tools you have for protecting yourself. So it's not about running a marathon. It's about can you maintain a reasonably active lifestyle that's going to keep you healthy.
So, I was looking at your website and you have some free workout videos. Now, I have not had an opportunity to do one yet, but I saw them and then, I started doing a little bit of extra steps. So what do you hope people will gain from your videos? And thank you for this lovely gift.
So the music, I have Zumba, I have I think an interval in there in Pilates. So the Zumba or even the fun dance stuff is about having fun working out. I try to find the best music that's motivating, that kind of distracts you from what you're doing. But also, adding some dance moves in there. So I think, I like to think that it makes it fun. And, you want to maybe afterwards think about how you want to go out and improve on your dance moves, like, really encourage you to be more active all the way around. The Pilates, which is my forte, it's one of my fortes, is I think so important because it's all about the core. The core is the area from our rib cage down to our pelvis bone, front to back. It is our quality of life. That muscle that surrounds that spine, that's everything. It works while we're sitting, while we're standing, while we're bending over to pick something up, while we're playing tennis, while we're turning our back, while we're on the phone. Everything is about that core. So the stronger it is, the more we're able to, do the things we need to do, avoid injury, and just do more things. And my focus is with women of color because my Pilates classes are inundated with people who are not women of color. And they really, really, they're in there, they get it. And so because it's not, there's not a lot of music and it's not maybe the most fun thing to do, I think it's harder, but it's something we really, really, and I stress, really need to participate in.
So we're running down to like almost the end. So tell me about your Sisters Day of Wellness that's coming up.
So we have an event which answers all these questions that we've discussed. Sisters Day of Wellness is December 17th at NCCU School of Education, and we have some of the top experts in all the fields of wellness who just happen to be Black women. Okay, and so we have a psychiatrist there talking about our, the obstacles that get in our way and our self-sabotages that we need to be aware of. We have a vegan soul food chef who's going to be doing a demo and providing lunch. We have a nutritionist from Durham County who understands Black women and the nutritional issues. It gotta taste good, right? And what is that? And how do we bring that in? I'm going to be doing the fitness portion, how to get movement in, and focusing on that immunity conversation. We have a dermatologist, Black female dermatologist in Durham, talking about beauty, skincare, anti-aging. Just we're gonna have a frank conversation. And you don't have to be a Kardashian to have any of this conversation. So it's just about what are we doing? And how do we want to judge, especially if we're working on our body and our inside? How do we, match it all together? We have reps from Black girls from wellness communities, active communities. Black girls do bike and girl track, who will be there talking about how those communities have encouraged them to work out, and maybe it's something that other women want to think about in terms of how to motivate getting activity in. So it's just going to be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward. So if you could leave us with one tip about COVID-19, what would that be as we close?
Oh my God. 60 to 90% of heart rate every day. That walk, that climb the stairs, that hula hoop, jump rope, but whatever it is that you want to do, that's my lasting conversation, is get it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It will do you a world of good in this COVID environment we live in.
Benita Perkins, my friend, thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you for having me.
You're certainly welcome. Benita Perkins is the president and CEO of Benniegirl Healthy Lifestyle Branding and Communications. And thank you, audience, so much for watching via YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as listening on WNCU 90.7 FM. We want you to be sure to like us. We want you to follow us. We want you to subscribe to our pages to see more of our archived shows. I'm Kimberley Pierce Cartwright, your host for COVID Conversations. Thank you so much for tuning in.